Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar. أهلا وسهلا فيكم جميعا. I hope everyone is doing well in this beautiful weekend. My name is Samer and welcome to the Supply Chain Transformation webinar. I see great names already attending, friends, fellows, students, and so on. Wa alaikum salam, Edward. Welcome. So just some housekeeping rules. I think for a reason or another, the chat window is disabled, but however, there is a question window where I would love everyone to have their questions posted or chats or whatever you want, notes within that questions area, all right? So that's to start with. Second, we will keep the webinar in English language in respect of all international attendees that's joining us today. So welcome everyone. Right, I see questions and notes coming. Omar, you're most welcome, Mr. Omar. All right, guys. Hello, Ali. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming, guys. So we really have much to cover today. As I intend to talk about supply chain transformation as a concept, then follow this with talking about the phenomenal new certification called CTSC. All right, but before we talk about certification and education, we need to lay down foundation for the concept of supply chain transformation. All right. Hi, Fad. Hi, Fadi. Welcome. All right. So just to warm up and start with, just in case if you don't know me or we have never met before, it's my pleasure. Let me introduce myself. My name is Samir Al-Madhoun, and I am one of the co-authors of the CTSC courseware. I had the privilege to take part of the writing process of CTSC, the Certified in Transformation for Supply Chain, which is the newest ASCM and APICS certification. And the least I can say is that it was really a thrilling journey to co-author an amazing supply chain contents. All right, so it's my pleasure and the other co-authors' pleasure to put this certification in your hands today and to introduce it to you as well. Right? It was an overwhelming journey of 6 months of constant writing, day and night. I think I have spent more than 500 hours writing and co-writing and revising and updating and editing the CTSC courseware. I'm also a supply chain consultant at a company called Muhakat. We are based in Jordan, but we offer our consultation all over the Middle East. I'm an award-winning APICS Master Instructor, and I have around 25 to 30 years of experience in supply chain in general, and in the past 10 years, I dedicated them to consulting and going through supply chain excellence journeys with our clients and helping them transform their supply chains. Right? So I think we're good to start. Let's start with the very basics as we talk about supply chain. And I think for most of you, this is straightforward. The state of the world today when it comes to supply chains. We live in a very dynamic environment today. Supply chains are not as they used to be. We live in an environment where everything surrounding our supply chains has a major impact on the supply chain. We live in an age where things are so dynamic that something happens at the other part of the world directly disrupts something at the end of the supply chain and vice versa. All right, supply chain is so coupled, so dynamic that we need to think of it in a different way than the usual way. Right? We live in a VUCA world, and VUCA is a description that was given 7 years ago to describe the current state of supply chain being volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Our supply chains are no longer linear as they used to be, like plan, source, make, deliver, return, etc. This is what used to be since ever the way we describe our supply chains. We live in a network, a dynamic network of operations that affects each other, hence affects our supply chain and customer satisfaction. We live in an age where we're driven by technologies like smart operations, intelligent supplies, dynamic fulfillment, synchronized planning, and so on. However, the current state of the supply chain today is still at organization is advancing at a slow pace. So my observation working with tens and tens of organizations, helping them to excel in supply chain, is that all of them and all of you guys do have supply chains, right? You operate supply chain every day in your work, procurement, planning, MRP, manufacturing, logistics, etc. But our supply chains are conventional and are not coping with the ever-changing needs of modern supply chains. Hence, the discussion today should move from operating the supply chain to considering seriously transforming those supply chains to cope with all the changes that's happening around us. All right? And this brings up the definition of supply chain transformation, right? Some people are having a hard time defining what is really supply chain transformation. It's your attempt to restructure your supply chain to do things in a different way. It is your attempt to strategically think, how am I going to create excellence in my supply chain? Changing the current state that's not dynamic anymore or doesn't fit the surroundings, the ecosystems. How can we enhance efficiency, mitigate risks, drive growth in our supply chain ecosystem? Supply chain transformation is that endeavor, is that attempt to change the current state of the supply chain. All right, and I welcome all your messages, thoughts, and so on throughout the question window. In fact, many of us, so we keep thinking about what is it that we want to transform to. We keep saying transformation, transformation. The father of all transformation is based on the need of the organization. Is based on the motivation that the organization has. It could be a pain that the organization is having, like we have very high costs of operating our supply chain, or the customer is not happy of the current state of what we are doing. All right, so there's always this need, call it motivation, call it pain, call it need. In our case, they are all synonymous as an urge to change something on the supply chain. I'm always asked, what is it that we transform to? So yeah, let's do transformation. What is it that we transform to? Let me tell you, there are tens and tens of things that you can transform in your supply chain. You can transform to become more customer-centric, as an example, right? Adhering to different needs of customers, like being agile, being responsive, etc. You can transform to just exceed the current industry performance, and you want to just do better than the current norms of your industry. You want to create thought leadership through your organization within that industry. And we see many examples of organizations that is considered today thought leadership. For example, Zara or Amazon or others, they have brought up practices of the supply chain, actually. So you may wish to transform to embrace best practices and emerging practices on the supply chain. You may want to transform to become more digitally enabled as a supply chain, right? You want to run things. You don't want to do the normal as we do it every day. We want to become more digitally enabled as a supply chain, like intelligent supplies, connected customers, synchronized planning, all these things, right? Maybe you want to transform to create a sustainable journey and become more, call it green, ethical supply chains, which requires you to look at things from a different perspective than the regular perspective, which is basically one bottom line, which is the profitability. You want to look to a more triple bottom line where you look at green effects, sustainability, ethical standards, and so on in your supply chain. And that's a huge jump, by the way, in the supply chain. You may wish to transform to enhance your maturity as a supply chain, because there are different sets of supply chain maturities, and maybe what you want to do is basically to scale up your supply chain maturity to a higher level. All right. I think you can always think of other things that you want to transform to, and you feel free to share that with me. If your organization have transformed something to a new state, okay, but this is what came to my mind today preparing those slides. Like I was helping my client to do these things, become more customer centric, exceed industry standards, digitalizing the supply chain, and so on. Do we have a question? Let's see. Yes, sir. Raised hand.
Oh,
Yes, Ali.
hello. Yes,
Hi, Ali.
I need some comment. All of this aspects regarding transformation already we concentrate regarding our work, customer centering. All of this we working together and parallel.
Of course,
Or
of
you
course.
need to concentrate for one approach.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, going back to the same idea, Ali, there has to be a need, right?
Yes,
There has to be a need, and that need could be, we're not digitally enabled. Okay, so we need to create digital transformation. Sorry, I had to mute you due to the background, Ali Habibi. It could be saying that the country vision is mandating sustainability, and I want to align with that. So I need to transform from a traditional supply chain thinking to a sustainability supply chain thinking. All right. So it's not necessarily all of them coming together, Ali. It's about the need, the motivation, the pain, where you want to create a different state of the supply chain, because you think and believe things can be done in a different way, in a better way. You want to become more competent in your supply chain, and so on. All right. I hope this answers this question, Ali. All right. I will be very interested to see which one of these your organization might be interested in transforming to. So is it reducing cost? Is it a sustainable future? So I'm gonna generate a poll where you can just pick one priority. All right, and let's see what is your thoughts of why do you want to. What is the pain? What is the motivation? Why you want to transform your supply chain? All right, so I'm distributing the poll now, and feel free to answer. I'm starting to see answers. All right. Have your say, guys. Is it reducing cost? Is it becoming more digitally enabled? Is it customer centricity? Is it sustainable and green? Is it increasing the supply chain maturity level? It could be others, but for now, let's stick to these as probably the most common reasons why we want to transform our supply chain. So far, very interesting. All right, so far, I don't know if you see the results or not, but I'm seeing the results. 17% goes to reducing cost as a motivator, 37% digitally enabled, all right? Customer centricity, 14%, sustainable and green, 11% only. And this shows, this is interesting because probably companies are not there yet as an urge to become more sustainable supply chains, right? And 21% towards increasing maturity level of the supply chain itself. Okay. Do we have more answers? So we are at like 83% votes. All right, fair enough. I think I was still answering. Okay, so still digitally enabled seems to be like number one. Number two, increased maturity level. Reducing costs comes third. Customer centricity comes fourth. And again, sustainability and green comes least as an urge for the organization. No matter what is your, that's the thing, huh? No matter what is your urge, it has to be something that you want to excel at as a supply chain. All right. So I'm gonna close this so we can share back. Very interesting. With digitally enabled 35% actually. All right. I trust you see my screen, right? So regardless of what is it that we want to transform to, there has to be transformation that's taking place, right? In the heart of transforming our supply chain, there are pillars that needs to be considered, all right? These are the four pillars of creating supply chain excellence within the organization. And they basically answer the most fundamental questions. How are we performing? How is our supply chain performing? What is, for example, what is the cost of our supply chain? If we're looking to transform for a lower cost, for example, then how are our processes doing? Do we have mature processes? Do we have mature practices in place? Do we have the right processes and practices? These are very important questions when we look to transform our supply chain to a new state. What about people capabilities to handle that transformation, to manage the new transformation, to take part of that transformation? How does people, because sometimes you need to transform your people as well, their ability to deal with the new normal, the new transformation, and so on. So whenever we want to transform, we have to look at these four elements precisely within the supply chain. Now back to the maturity thing. For everyone who voted for increasing supply chain maturity, really this is very interesting. You know, the question that everyone would ask themselves is which level of maturity are we at? Are we at the lowest level or the highest level? All right? Are we in a basic level of maturity, silo thinking, you know, blame game, no clear strategy, etc.? Or are we more in an emerging supply chain, semi-functional? Or are we an integrated supply chain? Or are we an extended supply chain connected to our customers and suppliers and so on? Because maybe one of the transformation ideas is how do we move from stage 1 to stage 2, for example? Or how do we reach the highest stage of maturity, which is basically an extended supply chain that works with customers and suppliers with a strategy, data sharing, tactics, and so on. All right? Most of the organizations that I was privileged to work with are somewhere between semi-functional enterprises and multiple dysfunction enterprises. All right? And one of the greatest questions back then was, how can we go up in the ladder to to become more of an extended supply chain. And this is basically, it takes a transformation. It takes a transformation to understand what is the current problem, what is it that we're suffering, what is the maturity level that we have, and then how can we take it. So the entire concept of transformation is also looking at the current as is and building a to be stage in the supply chain. Any questions to this end? Naeem says, I think now it is 5 stages. Yes, Naeem, they have added one that's an orchestrated supply chain, which is basically lies in the top of this. Thank you very much. Yeah, here, stage 5. All right. However, I haven't seen many organizations, Naeem, that plays in stage 5, to be honest with you, at least within my experience with organizations that I have been consulting with and so on. Yeah, Amazon is a great player, but I mean, when we look at the average players in the market, Naeem, they are somewhere between semi-functional, sometimes integrated, but not really at the stage where we think everyone is orchestrating their supply chain. Right? However, we can move from stage 4 to stage 5 to become more orchestrated supply chain. And by the way, when we say orchestrated supply chains, means we want to become more digitally enabled in the first place and more customer-centric at the same time. All right? And exceed performance of the industry as well. Right? Great. Keep the questions coming, guys. This is just building on the stages of maturity. You can assess your supply chain performance, and this is where you say which of my processes are really within level 1 or level 2 or level 3 or level 4 or level 5, for example, right, as Naeem was saying. Okay? Then it's safe to say that these most mature activities are not my highest priority because they are in a very mature status. Production scheduling, manufacturing, service performance are on a very high level of maturity. But if I was you, I would focus on the lowest maturity. So this is the lowest maturity. Your risk management is very low. Your contract management is very low. Your supply chain segmentation, your data and information and technology, your business rules are in very low state. So I would place emphasis on level 1 and level 2 in an attempt to make them more mature. And this is great because we try to build a new state of the supply chain. We try to transform that supply chain. So in my humble opinion, the supply chain transformation requires thinking of how good are we in doing something? How mature are we? Do we have gaps? All right. So then then the company can build a roadmap to say that this is the current situation, and we need to take this to a new state. All right. That's one way to think of the supply chain transformation, but this one is really comprehensive because we had been assessing even inventory management, returns management, forecasting, strategic sourcing, everything, regulatory ordering process, etc. But it can be also that you only want to just become more green, more sustainable, back to the edge and so on. So this is an example of a comprehensive way to think of your maturity in general, right? But some organizations likes to lead grand transformations, and in that sense, they assess everything in their supply chain. All right? Any questions? Just feel free to drop them, please. All right. In order to transform, we need to understand the state of the supply chain maturity. All right. In order to transform, we need tools to help us transform. We need to follow models, global models, international models of supply chain that has proven record of transforming. One of these models, there are few models out there, but one of these models that organizations always like to follow is the so-called SCORE model, the Supply Chain Operation Reference Model. And the Supply Chain Operation Reference Model offers an open source breakdown for all processes, all practices, all performance measures of the supply chain, all people skills of the supply chain. And that model had been used for more than 25 years by thousands of organizations to help them excel and transform their supply chains. I'm not going to talk about the model now, but I think one of the highlights of the CTSC material that we will talk about shortly is how to use this model as well, right? So in a nutshell, this model, the SCORE model, had been instrumental in helping organizations create supply chain transformation. Also, when we talk about supply chain transformation, we need to think of people skills. We need to upskill and the workforce. The workforce, the people are those who are performing the process, right? So the process might be good enough, but people are not well trained to do the process well. Or people have conventional knowledge of supply chain, and so the question becomes, for a new state or for the current state, what is the current set of skills needed for the supply chain team in the organization? And when you do transformation, you need to assess those talents, build a skills map for them, and develop their capabilities. These things, they come together, and my experience, they come very handy. You know why? Because you can buy the greatest technology out there, but not everyone can operate it very well. It takes a team that's capable of of operating different types of technologies in the organization. That's why the need to reskill and upskill the workforce is very important part of the supply chain transformation journey. All right, when you think of what is the current state, so this is the people skills that we have, and then what is the future state, the skills that they need to acquire. So for example, digital literacy is one of the most sought after skills that the workforce needs to have today. Digital literacy is defined as foundational skill that can be defined as the ability to navigate various digital platforms and understand, assess, and communicate through them. For example, someone that's working, a warehouse supervisor, right? So we want to make our warehouse operations more agile, responsive logistics. But the problem is the warehouse team is not well acquainted on how to use the warehouse management system or barcoding technology or serialization or integrating WMS with the ERP system. This is where working at the warehouse becomes conventional with a lot of resistance to change. So here you need to, if you want to transform your warehouses and the delivery process or receiving process or the picking process, you need digital literacy for that team. You need to reskill and upskill the current workforce that you have. Any questions? Good. It might be that what you want to transform is basically your digital capabilities, all right? And everyone strives to have a digitally enabled supply chains, but in fact, there are different states of digital supply chains. Everyone today is at the state of digitizing, which is basically when you install ERP systems and moving from paperwork more towards digital database interactions and so on. But now everyone is striving to become more digitalized, all right, or automated, in an attempt to reach a full digital state, which means when we say we are digitalized and automated, it means that the system is becoming smarter, the system is putting recommendations for us, the system is recommending how much to order stock, the system is helping me choosing the right supplier, the sourcing process becomes easier with an e-procurement software where the suppliers are readily available in a global database, and so on. So maybe what you want to do, going back to the poll that we have, what you want to do, your aspiration is to digitalize the supply chain and reach a state, or for example, for fully automated warehouse operations, or synchronized planning with your customers and your suppliers. Anyway, in a nutshell, these slides is about thinking in a different way in our supply chain. The need to upskill people, the need to use global models, either SCORE or other models to enhance the supply chain performance, the need to understand the current supply chain maturity, and so on. All right? At ASCM, the Association of Supply Chain Management, realized that there's a gap in the market for supply chain transformation as priority. So they came up with the CTSC, Certified in Transformation for Supply Chain. All right, one of the newest ASCM accreditations. And the purpose why, so the whole thing why this all came together, the CTSC as an accreditation. So I know for a fact, most of you know CSCP, CPIM, and CLTD. They are great best practices. Raise your hand if you have been to any of those classes or became certified, or if you hold any of these classes, any of these accreditations, sorry. All right, Omar, raise your hand. Abdullah, good, that's great. All right, Ali, Ibrahim, interesting. Ihab, Lamia, of course, Muhammad Faza, everyone. So this is interesting, when you hold this accreditation. I need to pick up on one question. What is the difference between digitization and digitalization? Digitization is where you so let me go back. Digitization is where you move from a paper environment to paperless environment. All right, this is called digitization. So for example, installing an ERP system is an amazing way to digitize your supply chain. All right, we move to a digitalization state where the systems become more capable of operating by itself, recommending solution, optimizing inventory for us, recommending how much to order, determining the shortest path for transportation, etc. We call this digitalization. Right, so there's a bit difference between them. I think most organizations today is digitizing but not digitalizing their supply chains. Anyhow, going back to CTSC, and probably one would ask, how does the certificate differs than CSCP, for example, or all these accreditations, CLTD, Certified in Logistics, or CPIM, Certified in Planning and Inventory. So CSCP, CPIM, CLTD, or any other certification that you may acquire from anywhere around the world teaches you the best practices. All right, teaches you the best practices, but doesn't teach you how to transform using these practices. So CTSC is about answering this big question: how to use things that we know to create transformation. What are the tools needed to create that transformation? All right. So I think the first thing that comes to my mind when we talk about transformation, and please share your thoughts with me. In order to transform, we need change management, right? In order to transform, we need, what do we need, guys, to transform? You tell me. What is really needed to transform? So change management is very instrumental, the ability to change the current state and taking everyone into this change journey, all right? What comes to my mind? Yes, sir. Mr. Hand raised. All right, project management, exactly. Assessment of the current situation, here you go. Right people with the right tools, definitely. All right, so it looks like transformation requires different capabilities than just the things that we learn on an average supply chain
Advanced
course.
ERP system برضه advanced ERP system for example.
Probably advanced technologies and so on. Thank you. Omar says transformation is from future to the present by having clear where we are heading exactly. What is the roadmap? How does it look like? Backward, what is the gaps that we have today? Yes, definitely, and how to work on that. Super. All right. So how does that come across CSCP, Omar, for example, and everyone, Abdullah, Fadi, Muhammad, how does that come across CSCP or CLTD? How do they cross roads together? All right. Stakeholder support you have, yeah. CSCP, CPIM, CLTD teaches you supply chain practices, like how to do inventory planning, how to calculate safety stock, okay? How to, all these great, amazing things, and how to do MRP, manufacturing planning, how to do network design, all right? But they give you amazing collective wisdom in supply chain. But what does CTSC do is to give you the ability to take all this knowledge and transform using them, okay? And transform using them. Change start from the present. We can change a process, but in an uncertain, where does this will take us? Absolutely. All right. So CTSC is right for you if you want to learn more about developing a supply chain strategy. CTSC is right for you if you are a supply chain leader who wants to change things, create a better supply chain in the organization. Or CTSC is great to someone that's currently on a place where they want to create supply chain excellence manager, supply excellence team leader. CTSC is perfect for anyone who wants to learn tools for transformation. Okay? CTSC is great for anyone who wants to learn to manage performance and create business intelligence and so on. So CTSC is great for supply chain consultants, because usually the supply chain consultant is someone that helps organization excel. And you can be, that could be within your organization, internal consultant for change, a change agent, or a consultant that, for example, works at the Big Four, whatever. CTSC equips you with the tools that you can use to be able to create that change. All right. So even I can comfortably and confidently say, if you want one day in the future to become a supply chain consultant, and you're wondering what are the tools that could be used, for example, do I have a toolkit to use? That would be CTSC would give many of these tools that you can use as a supply chain consultant. All right. This is classic. You will be able to develop, deploy, and manage change and transformation. You learn more about change management, for example. you will be able to learn more about identifying opportunities and defects in the supply chain and risks that requires transformation. You will be able to use a global framework, just like the SCORE model, for example. You will use it, you will learn to use it for transformation. You will be able to use the digital capability model to transform your supply chain to a more synchronized planning state or dynamic fulfillment state, and so on. You will be able to assess the as-is of an organization. You will be able to understand the maturity level. This is basically, this slides is about what goes inside inside CTSC actually. All right. Identify tools, technologies for supply chain transformation. How to implement a project in supply chain transformation as well. These are the main contents of CTSC. So we put 4 modules together. I was heavily engaged on writing module 2 and module 3 actually. The first module is a general overview of the concept of transforming. And what is it that we transform to, as I say, then what is a supply chain strategy and what is maturity and so on. All right? So the general views of the transformation idea. Module 2, how to prepare ahead for transformation, like the maturity assessment, the people skills assessment, and so on, putting a roadmap for the future. What is it that we want to transform to, our priorities, our strategic priorities, and so on. Module 3 is about actually doing that transformation, running a project to transform the supply chain, clear objectives, KPIs, project management in the first place, change management, leadership, all comes in handy at module 3. And module 4 is about, okay, we have created the new state. How can I maintain it and sustain it? How can I monitor it? How can I make sure I will stay in that level of maturity or everything went according to plan? All right? These are the contents. I know everyone is probably eager to see the learning contents actually. As I said, module 1 is about preparation. What is transformation? What is value proposition? What drives our transformation? Module 2 is heavy lifting, assessing the current state, addressing initiatives to address gaps, defining the future state model of the supply chain, initiating projects generally, okay, building a transformation business case. So this is in preparing for our transformation. Then in our way to execute, we look at change management plans, implementing supply chain transformation projects and streams, implementing governance for the projects and so on. Module 4, as I said, you assess the after, the post-transformation activities, you communicate results, you reflect on the transformation with the management, you see the impact on financial statement, you measure customer satisfaction, you see how far did we go with our transformation. All right, this makes up the full package on supply chain transformation. Actually, 4 modules, intense knowledge on best practices, change management, project management, leadership styles, measuring performance, assessment tools, different types of strategies used for supply chain, how to use Blue Ocean for supply chain, how to use BCG matrix for supply chain, how to use SCORE model for the supply chain, all these things coming together in one place. Does it look interesting, the topics, to you guys? Yeah, different than things that you have learned usually in CSCP, CPIM, CLTD, DDMI, Omar. Yeah, so the topics are, very dynamic topics, different than the things that we study usually. There's great emphasis on, Abdullah, there's great emphasis on management, strategic management of supply chain, leadership, change management, project management, global tools, global strategies, That's different than the average or any great supply chain class that you go to, which you learn about practices and so on. We expect that this product, this training, will become big very soon because ASCM just has launched it a few months back, and I think this will gain momentum very soon as we start introducing it to professionals like you, actually. Of course, as all ASCM products, it comes with a learning system, but ASCM is going green, so this product is fully digital. All right, there are no printed box for this product, and it only comes in a bundle format, which means bundle format means you get the access to the material as you see here, and you get the chance to go to an exam retake if you fail it. All right. For those who doesn't know, the learning system is basically bunch of tools and case studies and soft copies of material and supply chain dictionary, videos, quizzes, post-exam, practice exam that helps you excel towards the exam. Do I expect the certificate will be at the same level and the need of the market? Yes, Sally, because from my experience writing the contents, I think all those who co-author the material are supply chain consultants that works in the market and understands the current situation of organizations. Ali, you work in a supply chain, okay? You mean CSCP? CSCP has been around since 15 years now. It's a mature product. We cannot compare a product at the entry level at the introduction level with a mature product, but certainly it will gain momentum in the future. I just want to say, since you asked about the comparison with CSCP, Ali, I don't think that CTSC is your average training product. I personally believe it is advanced. All right. I don't think a fresh graduate or someone with a couple years of experience would feel very comfortable gaining the knowledge of CTSC. I think CTSC builds on great accreditation like CSCP and others and so on. If you ask me what is the next big thing after CSCP, I would say definitely CTSC. All right. No eligibility requirement. Anyone can learn CTSC. You have to pass one exam to become certified. It takes. You will need to do maintenance after 5 years, collect points, and so on. So the learning system comes with quizzes, case studies, resources, book up exams. The classic way of CSCP and other accreditations. We will start putting classes for this, so anyone who's interested to attend CTSC classes, most welcome to inquire about that. We believe that it will take 40 hours of education, roughly, and we will believe that the cost will be around $3,000 for the entire bundle. Yes, Abdullah, it's for me, it's definitely the next big thing after CSCP or any other accreditations that you gain, actually. We will have our first class on 16th of December this year, right? And everyone is welcome to inquire about that if they find it useful for them to attend. We're offering 10% discount for all the attendees of this webinar for this class only. All right, courtesy to your attendance to learn more about this class, actually. All right. This is the end of my my presentation. I would like to take any questions that you have about CTSC or other accreditations in general. And then I have those barcodes for you just in case you want to get in touch with us or inquire. I want to open the door for questions Mr. Sharma, please.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Just want to check with you. I haven't done any accreditation on CSCP before, though I am from supply chain background for almost like 8, 9 years of experience. So this doing this certification will be like, will it actually help me, or should I get the advanced version before, the CSPP and the basic ones? Then I should go for.
No, I think we just talk CSCP several times, but it doesn't mean that this is a prerequisite for this accreditation. All right. So yes, with your, it's not at all a prerequisite for this. With your years of experience, you are most welcome. As you see, there are no eligibility. There's no eligibility requirement. So it doesn't say grab CSCP and then come to take this. All right. So everyone is most welcome to to choose to come to CTSC. All right. Abdullah, Mr. Abdullah, Ismail.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much,
Salam.
Mr. Samer, for the great introduction about the CTSC.
Habib.
My question is, does taking or is taking this course and in parallel preparing for the CSCP exam, does it go along? Does the CTSC will help in the preparation?
No, I don't think we can see it this way, because what does CTSC do is utilizing in what you learned on CSCP and not the other way around. So I think it would be wise that you wait until you finish your CSCP and then think of what's next for me, what I want to learn, and so on. They don't contradict though, but they don't. I don't think that CTSC will help you pass CSCP, if this is the question. Okay. Hamza, you love the QR code. You're most welcome. Thank you. So let me go back to the QR codes. One is for the contact, the other is to read more about CTSC and download the brochure and so on. Muad says, if I did not have CSCP or similar, do you recommend taking this one? Yeah, Muad, it's not a prerequisite at all. But at least, Muad, I would expect that you have some years of experience in supply chain. So when we talk
but
about,
I mean as a recommendation, not as like eligibility or something.
yeah,
Just
sure.
as
If you have
recommendation.
experience, sure. If you have experience, Mr. Muad, it means that you are able to grasp concepts, change management, project management, transformation tools, and so on. Yeah, again and again and again, none of the global accreditation is a prerequisite for this. All right? Just to set it clear. Okay. Great. Muad, as a recommendation. Will you share this presentation? Of course, Martin, no issue. Lamia is asking, the cost is 3,000 including the exams. So Lamia, this comes with a bundle. Yeah. So the offering, the whole offering, and this is not our offering, this is ASCM offering. The CTSC is a bundle, which means not taking an exam is not a choice. All right. When you attend CTSC class, we will buy you a whole bundle, and the definition of bundle is the learning system alongside exam and exam retake and attendance. All right. So there's no like material alone and examination alone and the choice to book your exam, etc. No, they come all together at once. So yeah, the $3,000 includes attendance, includes the learning system, valid for 1 year, valid membership, exam, and exam retake, just in case you fail it. All right. Questions? Okay. When is the class? Hamza is asking. We have one, Hamza, that's scheduled at 16th of December, inshallah. The first batch, I think, and this is going to be the first class in the world, by the way. The reason behind that is, as I said, I am a co-author for the material, so I know the material inside out. APICS instructor did not start preparing for that yet to become ready to teach it, because the certification had been around since a few months yet. So I would say instructors are studying. Okay, so no one is ready yet to deliver that. So just taking the lead with this, taking advantage of the fact that I was part of the material writing process and so on. All right, guys. If we don't have any other questions, I think the CTSC is something to consider. And as I said, it's really it's a great edge on learning supply chain. And maybe everyone wants to think wisely if this is the next big thing. My personal view is, my humble view is that this is something big to learn, and it's absolutely something that's not written anywhere in any accreditations. This is what I think personally. Okay. Harun is asking, is the certificate internationally accredited? Yes, Harun. This is an APICS certificate, just like CSCP and so on, and CPIM and those. It is a global accreditation by the Association of Supply Chain Management. All right. Thank you very much, Osama. You're most welcome. Thank you, Abdullah. You're most welcome, Habibi. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ali. My pleasure always. And I think it's amazing that we keep the supply chain learning process always, running. الكورس بديسمبر 16th inshallah. So that's like 1 month from now. Can you take, Faisal is asking, can you take CLTD certification before, or can you jump to CTSC or other certification? As I said, there's no prerequisites, Faisal. Again and again, if you want to learn logistics, go take CLTD or any other logistics certification. Okay, simply. Or if you want to learn general supply chain, go take CSCP. Or if you want to learn procurement, go take another certificate. If you want to learn transformation for supply chain, come take CTSC. That's the thing. All right. Thank you, Iman. You're most welcome. Sharaftuna. All right, guys, stay tuned, and we'll start offering the course very soon. And I will be more than happy to answer all your questions on my personal email or WhatsApp or the company contact channels, actually. All right. Thank you, Muhammad. You're most welcome. All right, guys, our time is up for today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rami, and everyone. And I wish you the very best of luck. And see you, inshallah, soon in other webinars. Bye-bye. إلى اللقاء.